We are going to be making a spin on an Italian recipe that I found in a magazine this week, and it's lasagna cupcakes, a great lunch or dinner option for you to make. Pretty easy, doesn't require a ton of ingredients. The ingredients that we're going to be using are salt and pepper, ground beef, mozzarella. This one's just a blend of mozzarella and provolone, ricotta cheese, marinara sauce, Parmesan cheese, and wonton wrappers for the outside. If you look at the picture, you'll see what that's going to look like. Okay, I have my oven preheated to 375, and I sprayed my cupcake tin, and you're going to need one cupcake tin, and you're going to put one wonton wrapper into each little cupcake spot. So I'm heating up my pan on medium-high heat, and then I'm going to put in 6 ounces of ground beef. Oops. And you want to break it up in here. We've done this before at school, so this really isn't anything new. But you want to break it up. This is really nice looking beef. So that it'll cover, as much beef as you can get touching the pan is ideal. And then we're going to cook this until it turns brown. And once it's all brown, we'll move on to the next step. So once your beef is brown, like mine is, now if your beef has more fat in it, you're going to have to drain it. Mine was 90% meat and 10% fat. It doesn't matter. Whatever type of beef you get is great. But if you need to drain it, this would be the time to do that. Sometimes if I have to drain it and it's just a little bit, I'll push the beef over to one side. Make sure I turn off the fire, and then I'll get a paper towel and I'll just sop it up like this. So that's one easy way to do it. If it's not a ton of oil, if it's a lot of oil, use a plate or a colander or another method. And then at this point, we want to sprinkle on the salt and pepper. It's really hard. I'm trying to film this myself, and it's very tricky to do it with one hand. Okay. And then you just mix it in there like that so that our beef is ready to go. So in my bowl, I have 3/4 cup of the Parmesan cheese and the mozzarella cheese. So remember, there's still some left over here that we're going to use later. And this is my 3/4 cup ricotta cheese. And we're going to mix all of this together. And it'll take some effort to mix it together. You just want to get it to where it's all consistent. Okay, first thing you're going to do, you're going to split your cheese mixture in half. And then we're going to scoop half the mixture into the cup. So pretty evenly dispersed into 12 cups. So just a little bit in each one. So I filled in each one with just a little bit of the cheese mixture. I still have half because remember, lasagna has layers. That's kind of the key thing about lasagna. Then I split my meat in half also. And right now I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of meat in each one of these cups. A little bit of the half pan of meat. Now for the third layer, we're going to add just a little bit of tomato sauce to each one. We have 1 cup of tomato sauce to work with. So you don't want to go crazy and put a ton in there and putting, I don't know, it might be like a teaspoon or a little bit more than a teaspoon. I'm just kind of keeping track of how much I'm using, so I'm still going to have enough for the second time I have to put tomato sauce on. All right, moving forward, we are going to talk about some optional things. If you would like to add something exciting to your lasagna cups, I cut up some fresh tomatoes here. I cut up some red pepper, totally optional, just if something your family likes, you can add something to it. And then this is some chopped up into quarters pepperoni. And then you can just put in not very much because it'll fill too full, so we don't want to go crazy, but maybe just a few little pepperonis if you like that to each one. If you want to add a little bit of red pepper, you know, again, just a little bit, don't go crazy because it won't have room for all of it. And then a little bit of tomato, completely optional. You could add olives, you could add some basil. You know, it's your thing. So go crazy or make them completely plain. It's your choice. We're now going to add our second layer of wonton wrapper so that we can do a second layer of lasagna. So go over all 12 of them and kind of push it down just a little bit. So now we're going to do exactly the same thing we did before, and we're going to add a little bit of cheese to everyone, using up all the cheese in the bowl, what's left here. Then we'll add the same ingredients again. Then you're going to put your beef on each one again. And I did push these down a little bit when I was putting the cheese in them, kind of to pack them in. If you guys, you know, if you're a vegetarian, you don't have to do the beef. You could change it up for vegetables and do some zucchini or onions, or there's all kinds of stuff you could use instead. Or if you wanted to use some kind of tofu meat or fake beef, whatever, that would be great. It would still come out totally delicious, and the meat is not a necessity to make this recipe work. We're gonna finish the layers with one more little bit of sauce on each one. But this is not the last step. We still have to use our remaining cheese. So that will be the next thing we do. And the last thing before we put it in the oven is you're going to combine the leftover cheeses. Stir them up just a little bit. It's not a big deal. They don't have to be perfectly stirred. And then you're going to scoop just a little bit onto each one of the little muffin cups. Once you get it sprinkled onto all of them, you're going to put it into the oven, and we'll see what they look like when they come out. So they are ready, and I have to tell you, they smell delicious. So we're going to pull these out of here. I am going to see if I can get one out of here pretty easily. Oh, look at that. That's pretty easy, isn't it? All right. You might want to wait till they're cooler to do this step, but I'm just going to go for it. Ooh, yeah. And then you can sprinkle a little bit of red, just chopped up red pepper and a little bit of basil on top. And there you have your lasagna cups.